Riverview, a picturesque town nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering willows. Life here moved at a slower pace. Neighbors knew each other. Children played freely in the streets. The air hummed with the sounds of crickets and cicadas. It was a place where time seemed to stand still. Until now. The tranquility of Riverview was shattered on a crisp autumn morning. The leaves were turning vibrant shades of red and gold. A blanket of fog hung heavy in the air. The silence was broken by a piercing scream. It echoed through the empty streets, sending a chill down the spines of those who heard it. Fear gripped Lisa's heart. It was a fear unlike any she had ever felt before. A cold, paralyzing dread that seemed to seep into her very bones. The darkness around her felt oppressive, as if it were closing in, suffocating her with its weight. Her mind raced with questions, each one more frantic than the last. What was she about to uncover? Was she prepared for the truth? The uncertainty gnawed at her, making her feel as though she were teetering on the edge of a precipice. Who was in the car? What had happened? The shattered window and the eerie fog that enveloped the riverbank only added to the sense of foreboding. It was as if the scene itself was a harbinger of the trouble that lay ahead. She cautiously approached the vehicle, her hand trembling as she reached for her phone. Each step felt like an eternity, the crunch of gravel underfoot echoing in the stillness. Her breath came in shallow gasps, her heart pounding in her chest. With a deep breath, she dialed 911. The numbers on the screen seemed to blur as her vision swam with tears. She could barely keep her hand steady enough to press the buttons. The operator's voice on the other end of the line was calm and reassuring. It was a lifeline in the midst of her panic, a small beacon of hope in the darkness. The operator's steady tone helped to ground her, if only for a moment. Lisa relayed the information, her voice shaking with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. She struggled to find the words, her thoughts a jumbled mess, but she knew she had to stay focused, to provide as much detail as possible. Within minutes, the sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder as they approached. The sound was both a relief and a source of new anxiety. Help was on the way, but what would they find when they arrived? The arrival of Sheriff Thompson and his deputies shattered the eerie silence that had descended upon the riverbank. Their presence brought a sense of order to the chaos, but also underscored the gravity of the situation. The small-town law enforcement was ill-equipped to handle a scene like this. They were used to dealing with minor disturbances, not potential crimes of this magnitude. Their uncertainty was palpable, a stark contrast to the calm professionalism they tried to project. The gravity of the situation was evident on their faces. Each officer wore a mask of concern, their eyes betraying the worry they felt. They knew that whatever had happened here, it was far beyond the scope of their usual duties. The car was quickly identified as belonging to Emily Parker, a beloved local librarian known for her infectious laugh and her passion for books. The sight of her car, now a crime scene, was a jarring contrast to the warmth and joy she usually brought to the community. Emily had lived in Riverview her entire life. She was a fixture in the town, a familiar face that everyone knew and loved. Her absence was a void that could not easily be filled. She was a pillar of the community, always willing to lend a helping hand or a listening ear. Her kindness and generosity had touched countless lives, making her disappearance all the more devastating. Her disappearance sent shock waves through the town. The residents of Riverview were left reeling, their sense of security shattered. The close-knit community was now bound together by a shared sense of loss and a desperate need for answers. News of Emily's disappearance spread through Riverview like wildfire. The small town, known for its close-knit community and peaceful streets, was suddenly thrust into a state of panic and confusion. The tranquility of the town was replaced by an undercurrent of fear and suspicion. The once serene streets now felt ominous, as if the very air was thick with unease. Neighbors gathered on porches, exchanging worried glances and hushed whispers. Conversations that once revolved around daily life now centered on Emily's mysterious disappearance. The local diner, usually abuzz with gossip and laughter, was unusually quiet. Patrons sat in silence, their minds preoccupied with the unsettling news. Sheriff Thompson, a seasoned lawman with a no-nonsense demeanor, took charge of the investigation. His presence brought a semblance of order amidst the chaos. He assembled a team of his most trusted deputies. Each member was hand-picked for their dedication and expertise. They began by interviewing Emily's friends, family, and colleagues. Every conversation was a potential clue, every word a piece of the puzzle. Every lead was meticulously pursued, every detail scrutinized. The team worked tirelessly, determined to uncover the truth. The investigation revealed that Emily had last been seen 2 nights prior, leaving the library after closing time. The library, a place of knowledge and refuge, now held the key to a dark mystery. She had mentioned to a colleague that she had a date that evening but hadn't disclosed the identity of her companion. This revelation added a new layer of intrigue to the case. This detail sent a chill down the spines of the investigators. The unknown companion was now a person of interest. Who was Emily meeting, and why? The questions loomed large, casting a shadow over the investigation. The team knew that finding this mysterious individual could be the key to solving the case. The town held a meeting at the town hall, where Sheriff Thompson addressed the concerned citizens. He assured them that every possible resource was being utilized to find Emily. Volunteers from the community joined the search efforts, combing through woods and fields, putting up missing person posters, and offering any help they could. A candlelight vigil was held in Emily's honor, where the townspeople gathered to pray for her safe return. The flickering candles symbolized their hope and solidarity. As days turned into nights, the investigation continued relentlessly. The team worked around the clock, driven by the urgency of the situation and the hope of bringing Emily back home. With each passing day, the resolve of the investigators grew stronger. They knew that time was of the essence, and every moment counted in their quest to find Emily. As days turned into nights, the mystery surrounding Emily's disappearance deepened. The townspeople, starved for answers, began to speculate. Rumors spread like wildfire, casting a shadow of suspicion over several individuals. Some whispered about Emily's ex-boyfriend, Mark, a brooding artist known for his fiery temper. Others pointed fingers at Greg, a quiet newcomer who had recently moved to Riverview and had been seen talking to Emily at the local coffee shop. The weight of suspicion, whether deserved or not, was a heavy burden to bear. The investigation hit a wall. Leads ran cold. The lack of progress fueled the rumor mill, further dividing the once close-knit community. The idyllic facade of Riverview had crumbled, revealing the dark undercurrents that lurked beneath the surface. Just when all hope seemed lost, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. The case had been stagnant for weeks, with no new leads and the community growing increasingly anxious. But then, in the quiet hum of the forensic lab, a discovery was made that would change everything. The forensic team, working tirelessly in their lab, had uncovered crucial evidence. They had been meticulously combing through every piece of data, every fragment of information, determined to find something that could break the case wide open. Their dedication and expertise were about to pay off in a big way. Fingerprints found on the steering wheel of Emily's car matched those of Daniel Reed, a respected businessman and a prominent member of the Riverview community. This was no ordinary match. The fingerprints were clear and unmistakable, leaving no room for doubt. The discovery was both shocking and revealing. Daniel was a pillar of the community, known for his philanthropy and his unwavering support for local charities. He had built a reputation as a man of integrity and kindness, always willing to lend a helping hand. His involvement in the case seemed inconceivable to those who knew him. He was the last person anyone would suspect of being involved in such a heinous crime. The revelation of his fingerprints sent ripples of disbelief through the town. Friends, neighbors, and colleagues were left reeling, struggling to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the evidence before them. The news of his connection to the case sent shockwaves through Riverview, shaking the town to its core. The once peaceful community was now a hotbed of speculation and fear. Media outlets descended upon the town, eager to cover the unfolding drama, while residents grappled with the unsettling truth. Further investigation revealed a series of damning phone calls made from Daniel's phone to Emily's on the night of her disappearance. These calls were not just casual conversations. They were lengthy and frequent, suggesting a level of involvement that was hard to ignore. The timeline of the calls painted a disturbing picture. The calls had been placed from a burner phone, but investigators were able to trace them back to Daniel. This burner phone, intended to conceal the caller's identity, had instead become a crucial piece of evidence. The forensic team's ability to trace the calls demonstrated their exceptional skill and determination. The walls were closing in. Daniel could feel the net tightening around him as investigators pieced together the evidence. The once confident and composed businessman now found himself ensnared in a web of his own making. The community watched with bated breath, waiting to see how the drama would unfold. Armed with this new evidence, Sheriff Thompson and his team obtained a search warrant for Daniel's property. The search, conducted under the cloak of darkness, yielded a chilling discovery. Buried in a shallow grave behind Daniel's sprawling mansion, they found Emily's body. The once vibrant young woman was gone, her life tragically cut short. The discovery of her body sent a collective gasp of horror through Riverview. The town mourned the loss of one of their own. The weight of grief hung heavy in the air. The autopsy revealed that Emily had died from blunt force trauma to the head. The murder weapon, a heavy silver candlestick, was found near the grave, its once polished surface now tarnished with Emily's blood. The evidence was overwhelming. Daniel Reed, the respected businessman, the philanthropist, was a murderer. Daniel's arrest sent shockwaves through Riverview. The man they thought they knew, the man they had trusted, had been living a double life. The truth, as they say, was stranger than fiction. During the interrogation, Daniel confessed to the crime. He claimed that he and Emily had been having an affair. He had killed her in a fit of rage after she threatened to expose their relationship. His confession, delivered with a chilling lack of remorse, sent a shiver down the spines of the seasoned investigators. The motive, however, didn't sit well with Sheriff Thompson. Something felt off. Why would Daniel, a man who had everything to lose, risk it all for a fleeting affair? The pieces of the puzzle didn't quite fit.